God damn, boys. I can't remember the last time I had to do a full day's work. I don't know how people do it. My first day back at my first day at my new job today. And it was good fun. I mean, it wasn't good fun. I had a lot of compliance videos to do, a lot of like training stuff, reading handbooks, signing to say I'd read stuff, all that shit. I've got more of it going on tomorrow. I haven't actually opened any code yet. Not expecting to for about a week, I think, at this rate. We'll see. It's interesting because I've literally never worked for a company this big before. And obviously I've come from the farthest extreme where it was literally just me. And even before then it was a relatively ad hoc, like chilled out company. But yeah, this is like heavily regulated. Got to go through all this shit, which e-commerce really didn't. So I've been in here, I've just been working away. Let me just dump that away. I've got it all set up on this computer. The one thing I don't have is a mouse. Or a keyboard, I guess, for this new laptop, because Bluetooth's disabled, which kneecapped my initial idea of just connecting this to it for Bluetooth purposes, for mouse purposes. So I did that, and then I had the problem of use your words, Jeremy. Oh, I tried to use the Logitech like unifying dongle thing, but that requires software, which isn't on the approved software list, and it's my first day, and I didn't want to just casually install it. So, because I've heard that the security team will crack down on you like a whip. So, I've emailed them. But yeah, so I'm like kind of obviously as well, because I'm not doing a lot of programming. I'm using the mouse quite a lot. I'm like clawing over the keypad, like, oh god. So. It's not good at all. I need to figure out a mouse solution, whether or not they let me use the software to make that thing work, or open up Bluetooth on my laptop, or I need to buy a new mouse. We'll find out. Otherwise, it's been an alright day. It's been kind of as I'd expect, to be honest with you. Laura is now working downstairs doing uni work, and I am going to carry on with the claims mapping stuff that I was doing yesterday. I've kind of had an idea where I think that actually it should be quite... I might get it almost for free. I don't know. We'll see. Anything else interesting going on today? I don't really think so, to be honest with you. It's just kind of, obviously it's really weird because it's the first day at work. Not only is there a lot of people that's new starting today, but also everyone's not in the office. So everyone's remote. So it's just kind of a bit odd, you know? It just feels heckin' weird. But yeah, like I say, we'll get into it. We'll get used to it. That freaking keeps flashing at me because it's on sleep. I'm going to shut you down, boy, if you're going to do this shit like this. Right, turns out, two things. Firstly, I don't get it for free. Sad times. Secondly, I seem to have at some point broken the... Well, at some point yesterday, or during something or other, I've broken the clients, my Postman and Insomnia, as testing clients. I have to test it via the browser. It works through the browser still, which is good, but yeah, pain in the ass. So tomorrow we are going to fix those clients, and then we'll look at the other stuff, you know. But it's 9 o'clock at night. I need to leave this room for at least a little bit of time. Day two, boys and girls. I'm making myself a cup of tea. Laura's gone into the office to check a bundle that she's had printed and make sure it makes its way to a courier. I know how much, well, I think I know how much it costs to get my laptop couriered to me. And they're doing same day courier to London on like 16 like boxes of stuff. I'm like, I don't even want to guess how expensive that would be. Holy shit. I am on, I think, 10 of about 15 compliance training courses, ATM. Whew, it's boring as fuck. I'm now on the bribery one. I should fly through the bribery one. I've done one of them before. It's odd because the place I work is like really heavily regulated. The last place I worked that was regulated quite heavily was 2 jobs ago. So like I've got some of it I know, but then every now and again it's like the trading course I was last done, I'm like, how on earth is this relevant? I have no idea, but apparently it is. Apparently I need to know it. So I'm living the dream, boys. Also, like I'm starting some like more general like reach out, talk to people kind of chats, you know, on like Teams instead of Slack. I'm well known for my friendliness on Slack. I think at one point at a job, I sent more messages over Slack than the bots did, which is impressive, if you ask me. Because I like to know what people are doing, you know. I'm a very, like, personable person, you know. But it kind of feels a bit like The Circle. You know, the Big Brother-esque show, where people are all in a room and you don't know who you're talking to necessarily. Obviously, I've seen them on video chat and stuff, but effectively I'm like, how am I going to start a chat with this person? You know, it kind of feels really weird. The other thing that feels weird is how everyone seems to be customizing to video chat all of a sudden. Like, I hate video chat with a passion. I'm a phone person. And I think that's because, well, not because, but I'm a phone person because I like to ring people, or them ring me, more to the point, and then I can walk and talk and I can do things without them knowing what I'm doing, right? And I feel like that's so much more productive and so much more natural than just like staring at a video chat. It's something that me and Laura never did. Obviously, we went to separate universities for a long time. We never did video chats, we just did phone calls. But now Laura's into video chats. She just video chats her workmates and her friends and stuff now. It's just a thing that seems to, because of coronavirus, everyone's just like, yeah, fuck it, video chat. And it's one of the things that I've never understood about like iPhone users are way more accustomed to it because of like FaceTime or whatnot than in general Android users. But yeah, it's something that I'm trying to get used to. But I don't like it. Like I say, I'm a phone guy. I'm a talker, you know? And maybe that's because, to a certain extent, I talk to you. In a similar way to how I vlog, I'm basically just on the phone to someone. I'm on the phone to you in a delayed response, you know? But you get video, I don't. But if I could see you, this wouldn't be the same, you know? But yeah, I should be out of this compliance stuff by after lunchtime. I've got a meeting at 12. And then I don't know what's at the other end of that though, because we don't have access to any of the code or anything yet. And I just want to have a good old little rummage, you know, I just want to have a little look around, see what's going on. Also, I want my mouse. They've not got back to me about my mouse. Sad times. But yeah, so I've always been joking with Laura about how she is going to work. And like she's going to get stopped by the police and all that kind of shit. But because apparently the police are actually going around town making sure people are there that are supposed to be there. Obviously they're not around places like here. And she is technically, because of the work she does, a like, I don't know what the term is. What is it? Necessary essential worker? Something like that. So technically she qualifies even if like they were literally sending people back. Like in theory, I wouldn't qualify as an essential worker, but I can work from home and stuff, obviously. But yeah, because of the trade that she does and the kind of work she does qualify. But she's still like fretting about being caught. But also, she's driving literally from here to her work's underground car park. So I'm sure you'll be okay. You'll be fine. Really got to, not now, but at some point I really need to get out of the habit of having like snacks with tea. So I'm gonna get fat. I didn't do this when I worked on my own. I don't know why it's become a thing now. It's because Laura does it, that's why. And then now I do it. But Laura's used to working on a team where they all like bring in biscuits and stuff, you know? So like effectively, she's not doing anything different with the exception of obviously like not getting out and about more. Just pop in there, just chatting to you while I fill up my biscuit tin, boys. There you go. This is content. I'd be fascinated to know what it's like to watch these videos back when I finally upload them. Because like, I mean at this rate, the time that I actually upload these things, hopefully coronavirus is just like gone, you know? It's not a thing. Maybe we'll be on like phase 2 or something, I don't know. Because apparently these things come in 3 phases usually. But yeah, like obviously everyone's expecting to do this kind of work from home thing for like at least a month or 2. I'm more than a month or 2 behind. Like I bet some of the previous vlogs where I'm like, I think this is all overblown. which obviously ages really badly, but it's something that a lot of people said. And I still stand by the fact that I think this is going to have much more of an economic impact than a actual virus impact. Fucking monitor turns off. But yeah, anyway. I'm gonna enjoy. Oh, the monitor wasn't off. I've just turned it off though. My background is just black, so I keep thinking it's off. The whole day has now skipped by. Apologies for that. But we've just been working on through. Last night I was trying to fix issues with my identity server stuff. It seems to be related to cookies. I'm just trying to figure out how and why. Now, I thought moving to HTTPS, which is something I kind of set up and then took away just because it was added some unnecessary complexity for the early stage. I thought that would fix it, but it hasn't fixed it. It looks like Postman and Insomnia are both using an old version of Chrome, and that's causing me issues because that has weird default setups for cookie handling, and everyone who's done fixes for it have put very specific user agent checks, and I'm like, I don't quite feel confident doing that, boys. But yeah, it like signs them in, and then when it's going through the redirects, it then decides they're not signed in anymore. It's very annoying. Anyway, new day. Been doing more computer setup today. I hit a snag yesterday with database configuration. I always hit snags with SQL. SQL hates me, but I've got it sorted now. And then I went through, I've downloaded, there's like a little script they have that downloads all the repos that you're most likely to care about. And I'm not even shitting you, it took half an hour. There is a lot of code, my God. Way more than any other place I've ever worked. It's really odd because this place is like massive compared to everywhere else I've ever worked, especially the last two places. The last three, you're going back pre-uni was the last time I worked for a company this big. Also, I found out what team I'm in. And the team I'm in is a stark difference from the last real job I had. It's a lot more serious. Yeah, it's kind of fun. I've been messaging, had a few like meetings and stuff to go into. I think I've got one more as well. Maybe I think that's a 4. Yeah, just been like kind of talking around to people who's in the team / is leaving the team and handing over and stuff. Just trying to befriend people, you know, because it's really easy not to talk to people when obviously we're all remote. So I'm like trying to make an effort. But yeah, just having a cup of tea. I'm going back. Whew, boy. Time travels at a really strange rate right now. Hopefully like this obviously this is my first week at work. Hopefully when it comes to the weekend, that'll be my first weekend out of work. I wouldn't have had that for like 7 months, so that's going to be weird. But we'll see. Like I say, just going with the flow. Although I do have a tickly throat, which I think is hay fever, personally. Is that Laura's phone? I think it's hay fever, but it's annoying, so I've got that to pay attention to. But yeah, I woke up this morning and I'm like, hay fever is about, boys. It's always worse in the morning, so I'm like, don't drop the spoon. But yeah, I'm like, oh God, no, please don't be a flu or anything like that, you know? I need to figure out what work looks like outside of work now. Only because what outside of work is obviously, not only because it's like a little bit different, obviously the things that I do in my own time and work in general, but also because work is different hours now. So I do 9 till 5:30. And I'm more of a morning person. I feel like 5:30 is too late. I feel like 5 is absolute latest. I used to do 8:30 till 5, and then I did 8 till 4, which was great. But yeah, so I'm trying to figure out, like, I'm finding it really difficult to find. I think the problem is it's so late that by the time you've eaten and then kind of had chance to kind of chill out. I mean, I went for a 30-minute walk, maybe. And I mean, I'm trying to imagine a world where I'm actually commuting as well. Like, actually doing something productive in the evening is relatively, like, low, you know? So I'm feeling like, but 9 o'clock start is really late for me because I'm used to 7:30, 8. So I'm thinking about whether or not, and like get up earlier, work in the morning, before work. I don't know. But I'm imagining there's going to be a level of flexibility once I've got so many meetings and like training sessions and stuff at the moment. So I'm assuming after that there'll be a level of flexibility around. And obviously whatever I do now is almost worse because I'm not moving from this desk. you know? So I'm doing one work here and I'm coming back to do a different kind of work here. So it's a lot harder to like kind of get into that stuff again. That'll be different when I commute because A, the commute will be longer than my 30-minute walks, and I'll actually be moving around, so they'll be different anyway. But yeah, like I'm just can't bring myself to get into this. I've just been watching YouTube videos basically. I feel like my options are either stay up late, but then I feel like that's relatively unproductive anyway, because by the time like Laura goes to bed at like 10:30, 11 usually, which means like that's at best like only an hour extra work anyway. Like it's just the space in between finishing work, having dinner, settling down to actually do some work, watching TV with Laura going to bed. Maybe I'll go to bed. There's not many like time chunks there, you know. So, but we'll see. I quite literally had back-to-back meetings today, from basically 11 o'clock all the way through. I had a 15-minute break around lunchtime, where meetings like overhung a little bit. Although one of the meetings was like more of a guide to how they do things, so I was sat without sound and without my face on it and just eating a sandwich, being like, if I know I have to participate in the next meeting, so I'm gonna frickin' eat now, boys. Like, I feel like I'd go to a meeting in an actual office and eat, you know, like if it was literally booked over lunchtime, but like it's just kind of the done thing to eat in a meeting sometimes, you know, but somehow not the case when it's over video. I feel like because it's over video, you almost feel like you can't opt out. If it's like in a meeting room or whatever, you can almost be too busy, you know, to go in person. But like, I've got no real excuse to not go to things. And like, I'm one-to-one with someone, and he's like, if like you don't think you need to go to something, don't go to it. Or if you feel like it's optional, just leave. And I'm like, and he's like, you've got to take some time out to yourself. I'm like, I mean, it's only my 4th day. Anyway, today was a lot about learning what, about the domain of what we're working in, starting to talk to, so we sat in on planning meetings, slash refinement, sorry, to try and figure out like what the game plan is. By this time next week, we should be in our first sprint, although it'll be unofficially started because it'll just be the first sprint will be a 3-week sprint, because someone else is joining on Monday and then someone's joining the Monday after. So we're waiting for them basically before we start properly, but we'll be starting like effectively a smoke run of the sprint as of next week. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, getting my computer set up and whatnot. Today I've just been bashing my head against trying to get the integration test running on a microservice I don't think I need to get running, and I think it's failing because it's something to do with the databases. Entity framework. I need to spend some time with Entity Framework because if we don't get on. I feel like it's one of those things where all of the demos for Entity Framework are so simple, they're so like basic, that they always work and they're always really simple. So I've gone through the training stuff so many times and it just always makes sense, it always runs happy days. But like doing that on something more complicated is really complicated, you know? It's always something I've steered clear of. My last place used Entity Framework and this place uses it. And it's got its advantages and stuff. I'm a NoSQL guy in general. I'd like to avoid SQL at all costs usually. But if I'm forced to use it, I kind of more steer towards the more like Dapper style frameworks, where they're a little bit more hands-off and kind of you write the query and the object it maps to, and then Dapper does the rest rather than this, which is like fully managed by code, etc. But yeah, so setting up some stuff, didn't have a crazy amount of time, like I said, because of all the meetings. I think as of tomorrow, we're going to start setting up the stuff for our specific environment, for our specific team. And then we're going to start doing some things like pairing. I've still got a couple of meetings tomorrow, but a couple of like pairing exercises as we do spike tasks to try and hit the ground running. Does feel very much deep end. It almost feels like, I was saying this in the one-on-one, it's like we've been given access to so much information, like basically like here's anything you want to know from 30,000 feet, but nothing's been like honed in yet. So it kind of feels like there's just loads of shit and it's like I don't know anything in depth. There's no opportunity to like dive in deep, so I'm hoping to be able to get that chance tomorrow. Otherwise we went for a walk after work, went to the shops to get some like bread and stuff. We're kind of out of sync on bread. We normally obviously buy it in the weekly shop on a Monday, but for some reason we've like fallen out of sync. And like Laura needed some bagels and crisps and stuff. She can't get bagels, so she's going to reuse a real bread. It's a pain in the ass. But long story short, bread is out of sync. And we're trying to only go to the shop once, but we can't, not anymore. Damn it. And otherwise, I've been really fucking fighting my issue with Identity Server, trying to get it up and running as a separate entity. The thing is, I don't know why this has happened. I'm not really sure what the problem is. And I'm trying to figure out whether or not kicking up the old security service would replicate the issue. I think it would. But there's some issue with cookies. A very specific version of Google Chrome, which is what Postman, oh my god, and Insomnia are using, version 66. And by the looks of it, you have to do some really nasty agent sniffing to figure out what setting, what mode to put the cookies into. And it literally only applies for 66 effectively. And I think a certain version of iOS, which isn't even out anymore, because iOS updates so aggressively. I'm trying to mitigate it by going down the HTTPS route, because running on my local machine, I never really bothered to set up HTTPS on my Service Fabric. I'm going to do that now, predominantly because I think it might fix the problem, because I've read that it should. If you've got fully HTTPS all the way through, then this doesn't become an issue anymore. But also because if I actually do want to put this Identity Server out alongside another product, I'm going to need HTTPS at some point. So doing that, I'm having a real pain in the ass trying to get it sorted, because it doesn't trust the certificates I've set up for it. So I've tried like one way yesterday, which is like kind of the old way, because I've done it before. And I kind of just redid that I did it at one point basically, and then backed it out for some reason. I think it was to do with Angular. I had an issue with Angular and then dropped it out. For whatever reason, it worked, and I took it out. I put it back in again, so basically just revert to the commits. That doesn't work anymore. It works for the app, but it doesn't solve the problem for the thing. No, it doesn't. No, that doesn't work at all anymore, and that's probably because of Service Fabric's updated like 4 times since then. So it was about 4 years ago. So I'm going through like the best practices, how to do it. Went through OneDocs. That's not set it up properly, and the way it's set it up is kind of unideal. I'm going to try and investigate putting a certificate in Key Vault and see if we can solve the problem that way. But yeah, so I'm just kind of chipping away at that, seeing what I can do. It's annoying. It's an annoying problem because it's one of them ones that feels like you're just chipping away forever, not really doing much, you know? Like, I couldn't estimate how long it's going to take me to fix. I hate stuff like that. But I'm having fun. I'm back on to it. Kind of like as a hobby, you know? Because I'm still trying to figure out when is the best time to do it. I think it's going to fluctuate so much over this month, let alone over the next 3 months. So we just do it whenever we want to, I guess. Oh, my days, boys. It's the end of the week. I'm living the dream. Going into the weekend, which is basically the same as every other day. Just read a thing that Google have announced that they're rolling back their changes for same-site cookies for a little bit. That's a pain in the ass. But I need to look at that anyway. Today, I had some pretty productive meetings today, where we were like kind of going over what the changes we were trying to achieve and stuff. And I feel like I had like a pretty good insight with like the head of operations for what we're doing. And I was kind of like, you've got a really unique opportunity here where you've got a brand new team of people looking at something. We aren't coloured by what you've currently got or what your current limitations are of the platform. Like, the sooner you can basically say, here's what we want, the sooner we can wrap our head around how to build it for you without it's being stuck to the railroads that we're on, you know what I mean? Because what they want to do is like quite heavy, like almost data level, like domain shaping and modifying a domain to act differently is quite difficult if that domain wasn't built in the right way to support it. Because previously they basically do two very specific things. Now they kind of want to pull all of that data together into some kind of data lake and then process it that way instead. And they were like, yeah, that sounds like a really good idea. They're going to set up some stuff for us. Basically, I've got ideas. They were all good. I've been spending a lot of time outside of meetings, kind of like reading the code bases, figuring out kind of any improvements that we can be made, trying to like figure out how it works. It's quite messy. It makes sense. It's just like, it's like a shotgun that's just gone off. It's like a grenade's just gone. It's all gone. And it's like logical, but almost separated out for the sake of being separated out. You're like, why is this in a separate project? Why is that a separate solution? But yet things that you would expect to be in separate projects or separate solutions aren't. Like, the only time I'd ever add a second solution to a project, unless there is a legitimate, unless you're going for like the one repo model, which they're not, is if you're separating out integration tests, because integration tests in a separate solution means you can then open that solution in a separate instance of Visual Studio, and then you can debug both. You can't debug two things. So you can't like host the application and debug it in one instance of Visual Studio. So you separate them out, and then also you're not accidentally running tests that take too long in the scenarios where it's not deployed, etc. But they haven't done that. But everything else, there's like another divide, and I'm like, I can't figure out why that's divided. So, interesting stuff. But actually running the code, no luck. So like, I had to obviously spend a lot of time waiting for people to be available to give us credentials for stuff, give us rights to access other stuff, and then like half the documentation is just like not there. So it like doesn't explain where things are. It's like, go to this and get this information. Where's that? To just dive through a load of databases to find the right information. And that was in my database, which was empty, because it's not being seeded with information, because I need that information to seed it. And then I found the right tables, and then I had to figure out that I needed authentication for a database that exists, how you get that information. It's faffy. But I'm definitely having some issues. I don't know how we're doing secrets for connection service buses and stuff. Like, no one's actually kind of described how to run the code. There's just like, run this. I'm like, well, I need all these information, all these keys. So anyway, it's good fun. Otherwise, chilled out evening, and we're going to bed. What's happening that week? Laura's got uni this weekend, so it's basically going to be the exact same weekday, weekend. What does it matter? Been trying to figure out how best to set up this office. Right, that's how I've spent a bit of today. Today's been effectively a pottering day, while Laura's been doing uni stuff. I've been kind of like in and out doing random stuff around the house. I've moved my dock there, and I'm thinking about putting my laptop here. I think this is the problem, quote unquote, because it's wedge shaped, so it's not very good for like storing stuff on, you know? I've put it here so I can make it easier to connect my keyboard to the dock and then swap it in between, because I've basically just switched in between these two docks there. And then usually this is all here, but me and Laura were doing a quiz. It was quiz night. We had a big webcam session with a load of old school friends. It's pretty good fun, actually. It was actually really good fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think we came second. Damn it. Second, because there was a football round with niche as fuck things, man. Although I didn't get one, I got Rio Ferdinand right. But everything else was literal names I've never heard about. But yeah, so it was a hoot. But it was really good fun. We did it on Zoom and stuff. So what I'm thinking is effectively also these will be over here with my work stuff. Like this, without that, during thingy time. And then I open this up and put it here to the side, and then use this as a primary monitor. And then I've got actual like desk space to play around with if I want to write notes and whatnot in meetings. And then I'm thinking leave this inside a backpack, like my backpack there. I just don't like doing that because I don't like the idea of it like falling over or something. But I started like trying to optimize stuff, and then became obsessed. In theory, actually, that could even go like under there, and then just live there. Alright, that's fine. It's not like I ever pushed this back. Oh, I probably would though, if I was writing. I don't frickin' know, boys. So yeah, I don't know. I just don't know, boys. All I know is, I know I'm not comfortable with my current setup. Once I go to 2 monitors, which will be like next month, well, I'll put my order in after my first paycheck. Can afford it now, but I feel like it's a bit excessive. Once I've got 2 monitors, I'll dock away my laptop anyway. I just want it open until I've got 2 monitors, basically, just to put like Microsoft Teams on it and stuff. But yeah, I just know I'm not comfortable with the current setup. The problem is, if you put the thing to the right, that's where your mouse is. It's on your mouse hand. That's not ideal. But yeah, it's like kind of prepping. Ugh. I'll figure it out. Getting a bit stressed out, boys. Laura's doing in a lecture thing, ATM, virtual lecture on a computer, and I am fighting with fucking SSL, man. I appear to have like just completely fucked up certificates on my computer now, to the point where they don't work at all, let alone within Surface Fabric. Something I've done trying to get it working for Surface Fabric has now knocked it out, so it doesn't work ever. That's annoying. And I'm like kind of at wit's end. I almost want to just effectively start it all again, you know what I mean? Oh, it's such a pain in the ass. I'm trying to decide how much value Surface Fabric's giving me. I don't really think it's giving me that much value at this precise moment in time. I like it. I like it as a thing. But it's getting in my goddamn way at this precise moment in time. Anyway, yeah, so I'm trying to figure that out. Otherwise, as well, I'm watching like a training course thing on designing distributed systems, which is good fun. I'm just losing the will to live. I'm just being like, it's doing my absolute nutting. On a plus note, I am towards the end of my polo shirt spree. On my wardrobe, I had like 7 polo shirts in a row. It's the first time I'm not in a polo shirt for a long time. Alright then, boys. I figured out my SSL certificate issue. That's sorted. I'm going to investigate if I can, how easy it is to pull it in from Azure Service Fabric. At the moment, it's very much like a local dev-only solution. I don't think it would work if deployed. So I'm going to put them in Key Vault anyway. So I'm going to see if I can do that. But otherwise, I've figured out like effectively a plan for all the things I need to do to finish the story that I'm doing, which is basically make the identity server work for Varialis as a whole rather than just Red Spider. Kind of already done that, but then I hit the technical snags. So I've just like written what I need to do to get out of those technical snags, basically. Otherwise, we just had dinner. It's been quite a worky day, to be honest with you. I really don't know what day it is. Had dinner, went for a walk, and then we've just been watching TV. Oh yeah. But I'm going to end this video, ladies and gentlemen. Start of a new week tomorrow. I need to sort these videos out. Right, thanks for watching. I'll catch you later.